The Deacons for Defense and Justice was a black civil rights organization that was active in the United States in the 1960s. The organization was established to provide armed self-defense for the African American community, particularly in the South, where racist violence was prevalent. The Deacons for Defense and Justice emerged in the context of the civil rights movement and the struggle for racial equality and justice in the United States. The organization was founded in 1964 in Jonesboro, Louisiana, by a group of African American men who were fed up with the racist violence and police brutality that their community was facing. They saw that the nonviolent tactics of the civil rights movement were not enough to protect their community from the violence of the Ku Klux Klan and other white supremacist groups. Therefore, they decided to arm themselves and provide protection for their community. The Deacons for Defense and Justice quickly became one of the most influential and controversial groups of the civil rights movement. They provided armed escorts for civil rights leaders and organized patrols to monitor and deter acts of violence. They also used their firearms to protect voting rights activists and civil rights workers who were working to register African American voters in the South. The organization also worked to protect African American businesses and homes from arson and vandalism. The Deacons for Defense and Justice were also involved in other civil rights activities such as voter registration, anti-poverty programs, and education. They also worked closely with other civil rights organizations, including the NAACP, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and the Congress of Racial Equality. However, the Deacons for Defense and Justice were met with significant opposition from both the government and other civil rights organizations. The FBI's COINTELPRO program, for example, targeted the organization and used surveillance, infiltration, and other tactics to disrupt their activities. Other civil rights organizations, such as the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, criticized the Deacons for Defense and Justice for their use of firearms, arguing that it would lead to increased government repression and undermine the nonviolent tactics of the civil rights movement. Despite the opposition, the Deacons for Defense and Justice continued to provide protection for the African American community. They also served as an inspiration for other Black power and self-defense organizations, such as the Black Panthers, which emerged in the late 1960s. The Deacons for Defense and Justice played an important role in the civil rights movement, as they provided protection for the African American community and helped to end the reign of terror by the Ku Klux Klan and other white supremacist groups. They also served as an inspiration for other Black power and self-defense organizations that emerged in the late 1960s. However, it's important to note that the Deacons for Defense and Justice's use of firearms was a controversial tactic within the civil rights movement. While it was a means of self-defense for the African American community, it also led to increased government surveillance and repression. It is important to understand that the civil rights movement was a complex and multifaceted struggle, and the role of firearms in the movement should be understood in the context of the larger historical and societal context of racism and discrimination in the United States. In conclusion, the Deacons for Defense and Justice was a black civil rights organization that was active in the United States in the 1960s. The organization was established to provide armed self-defense for the African American community and played an important role in the civil rights movement. The organization provided protection for the African American community, helped to end the reign of terror by the Ku Klux Klan and other white supremacist groups, and served as an inspiration for other Black power and self-defense organizations. However, it's important to understand the context and the controversy surrounding the use of firearms in the civil rights movement.